My name is Chu Dongpan. I have a GTID CPAN65. This is a CS6440 stretch assignment number 6. So the topic is how to use Docker, Jenkins, and ranchers. So first of all, what is Docker and what is it used for? So the concept of the Docker is like a container. It's also like a virtual machine. So the container can contain different kind of a machine, and they are not interacted with each other, and they can develop by itself and then output by themselves, and they don't interact with each other, so there is no harm. They're not affecting each other, so there's no harm between them. So, and the Docker is just like the normal computer Docker, and you can put things on it, and this kind of virtual machines are putting into this container. And for example, this is our Team Avengers architecture diagram, and the Docker is right here, which is used we are gonna put the rancher servers built on the environment of the Docker. So basically, this is what is Docker and what is it used for. Now, moving on, what is rancher and what is it used for? So the concept of rancher is very different from the Docker. And in rancher, so this picture is from this website, and in rancher you can put different kind of projects inside the rancher environment. Basically, the rancher provides you a platform so that you can develop all these different kind of apps or utilities without have to memorizing all kinds of commands and Linux command, all these kinds of things, because it's a platform. You can do stuff on it, develop different apps and so on. In our case, because it's a platform, you can also in application, it's also like a server. So we can put this Docker as a container, and then build the rancher servers on top of the Docker. So yeah, that's what rancher is. It provides as a server, a rancher server, so that we can build our applications on the server. Now, what is Jenkins? What is it used for? This is interesting. So this is from this YouTube video. What it says is before we have Jenkins, we have all these developers. So they all working on the same project, and then they submit their job onto the repository. But because different people have a different styles of like programming or working, so their results could be inconsistent. What happened is, if you have this inconsistent code in the repository, when you integrate it, there could be different kind of issues because of the incompatibility between different coders. And what's the resulting from that is that it will be a delay in the testing, and there could be a lot of bugs in the code, and so you have to go back to the developers, and they have to make it compatible again. And the result of this is the delay of the release of the software. So now with Jenkins, is like it's give you a continuous integration opportunity. So what you can do is the continuous integration give you like a server, and then developers they put their submit their work onto the repository, and then the repository will be screened by the continuous integration server, and then if it pass, it will be sent to the tester, and then the tester will, if it's good, it will release and deploy, and if it's not good on the continuous integration server, it will be sent back to the developers, and then you fix it, and it will again submit it on the repository and go to the server again. And on the tester side, if the testing is good, it will release it. If testing is not good, it will go back to the developers. So this process is continuous, which means they are doing it all at once, and it's updating it all the time. It's not like I have to wait for the submission integration. You don't need to wait. As soon as you submit it and it passes, and tester said it's good, it's being released, and the same thing happens at the same time again and again. So this is give you a continuous integration process. You don't, which will give you a lot of great efficiency compared with the old process. So this is what the Jenkins does. You can, if you update your work automatically, basically. So how are they used together? So for example, in our case, we are going to use a Docker environment and build a Rancher servers on it. And then from the server, we will extract information from the Fire server, get the data, and then get the data aggregation to the Fire server, and then put it onto the web app and get the visualization onto the web page. And this process is being put onto the Jenkins process, so that this whole circulation is being updated continuously. As soon as the developers extract the data and get the visualization or change something on the back end, the whole process is being updated, and your whole work is being updated by the Jenkins continuously. So this is how we use them together: Docker, Rancher server, and the Jenkins. So how do we deploy my team project using the Docker, Jenkins, and Rancher? And how do we use them with GitHub? I put these two questions together because we deploy our team project using these three, on the GitHub. So this is why I put these two questions together. So the Dockerized deployment procedure goes like this. So first of all, we create a Hello World web server. That's a Rancher server that listens to the port A080, and then we create a Docker file that Dockerizes the web server. So in here, we have to copy the source code onto a working directory, and then we install all node dependencies. And then we compile and start the web server on port A080 of the Docker image. And then we drop the source code and Docker file on the GitHub repository. And this is how we use it with the GitHub. And then we create a Jenkins file on the root directory of the GitHub repository. And we do the following. We notify the HDAP Jenkins build pipeline to build a Docker image for the web server. And then we deploy the Docker image to the HDAP Rancher web server. And then the TA will help us to map the internal port where the web server listens to an external port. And the site is this one. And simply put, we use a Docker, in the Docker environment, we build this Rancher server, and then we do this data extraction, data aggregation, and then the build on the web app, and do the visualization of the figures. So all this process will be put associated with the Jenkins, so that the whole circulation, if we have something changes at the back end, the whole project will be updated automatically by the Jenkins. Now let me talk about the Docker file, which is the location is here. It's pretty simple file that we have a working directory, and we install the app dependencies. Basically, we copy all the package JSON file onto the directory, and then if we haven't installed the npm, which is for the softwares, and we have to install it, and then we copy it and expose the port A0, and then use the command npm start, so that the web service app service can start. And the Jenkins file is located at this location, so we use it to build a pipeline. And then we have two stages. The first stage is the deployment stage, and we have Docker with registry in this IP. And then we define our image, the Docker image, we build it, and then we push the image. And then for the notify the Rancher server, that the Rancher will confirm that it's true for Rancher server, and endpoint is this one, environment and image, and then timeout and service. All this thing will be notification for the Rancher servers. Now we need a lot of commands during this process. First of all, you have to update all your applications, and then we have to install the kernel, and if you don't have the kernel, you have to install it, and then we will have to use the kernel to get the Docker, and we have to put the Docker into group, and then put the user name. Well, it's not Chewy, this is what I used, but in our group we have another one which our group leader knows, and we use the apt-get to install the Docker. If the Docker doesn't show in your environment, you have to install it, and then you log out of the user and then log back in, and then you can use the Docker command. And then we use the Docker to run the hello world. This is how we do the first step to give a simple hello world Ranchers Dockers. And then we deploy. After we start starting the Rancher server, you can navigate to this the Rancher server public address, and with the port A0 on the web, it will direct you to the setup page of the Rancher servers. You have to put in the name, the description, type, and all these profiles, then click the create, and then your Rancher server will be up. Very simple. And then the rest of commands to do the rest of the work, we build the node, the web app with the associated node. And then we do the image, and then we run this with the app, and then we use the Docker PS to get the port information, and then use the curl to get the apps running and get the status of it. So this is basically all the commands you need to build to use the three applications to deploy our project. And this is all the reference I use for this presentation, and thank you very much. And this concludes how do we use Docker, Jenkins, and Ranchers and how do we deploy our projects. And thank you very much. Have a good weekend.